Am I back?
And and they'll do better than Rory will if they've given that opportunity.
All right, we back?
You're back.
I think this is going to be one of those nights because that was my internet dropping out again for the second time. I don't know what it's doing. It's dropping out and then coming back on. I think we're back on YouTube.
I kept going, mate. I kept going, so I just covered for you.
Oh, you're a bloody professional.
Oh, I am.
I was going to say you're a pro, but then we go back to the brothel conversation. I won't talk about that.
I wouldn't get a quid if I was working at that. Nah.
Yeah, so I don't know, Mac. I don't know what they're going to do. I know what they should do. I don't think they'll do what they should do. And if they don't, Macca, if they choose Rory Sloane next week, irrespective of whether he retires, if they choose him next week, then it really contradicts their whole modus operandi for this season, particularly the back half of the season where they've been putting youth development second and making finals first. Done it. It's a complete contradiction.
Well, it is interesting that they have introduced a lot of youth, but it's all been forced upon them by injury. So, in a way,
that's right.
In a way, it's while that may have impeded our opportunity perhaps to play in the finals this year, I'm not that concerned about that because of the fact that I think that if we got into the finals, we weren't going to go very far. We might have even won one, but that'd be it, you know. And all we're doing is making your draft pick worse in the long run. Whereas in the situation where, let's say we don't get there, but at least we've had a situation with those injuries that's forced us to play 3 or 4 young guys who otherwise wouldn't have been playing. And now they've got that under their belt. They've got the taste of it under their belt. They'll really, really want it, and they'll actually work a lot harder, and they will improve a lot quicker.
Yep. Agreed. So it's going to be very interesting just to round off that Sloane conversation. It's going to be very interesting. A professional club would do, I think, what you and I both agree they should do.
Yes.
Are we a professional club, Mac?
Well, look, I think it's going to be very telling. I think that the decision the club makes with Rory Sloane will tell us supporters what our future of the club is. If, in other words, are we a club that's got any guts, any balls, who really thinks of what's best for the team and the club as a whole, or are they weak as piss and just hand out a contract because they didn't want to hurt Rory's feelings?
I 100% agree with you. I really do. This is a bit of a watershed moment for the club, and that sounds a bit overblown and a bit hyperbole, but I agree with you 100%. If this is a professional football club that is striving to regain its mantle as a powerful club and people might say, oh, what's one game? The finals don't matter this year, blah, 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 blah. But I honestly agree with you. I think they should. There's no iron team. There's no one person is bigger than the club, Mac. All those cliches, right?
Yeah.
But they're true. They're true. So we will see whether Rory's got the agates and the humility. I think it's humility on the part of Sloane. Sloane should be looking at his tape on Monday and going, gee whiz, that's me done, I think.
In fairness to Rory, as an individual, it's very hard for an individual to see it through the eyes of the other people. In other words, Rory would still think, I've still got it in me. Because otherwise he wouldn't say, I'll keep playing till they tell me no more. So I can't blame Rory for wanting to go on. That's just, I think
that's true. I don't think that's true. Trent Cotchin could have said the same thing.
Well, yes. To Cotchin, I thought it really got to a very bad stage. Rory. But if Rory is honest with himself, if he does look in the mirror and is honest with himself, he's looking at a guy who was a very good player and is no longer a very, very good player. He's now just a player and only just.
That's right. And Alex says it exactly right in YouTube. I don't want to remember Rory like this. I want him to go out on a high. What's What's Rory Sloane got to gain by going another season? What, apart from money, which he's not going to have any problem with anyway.
Yeah, and the club could get around that part of by employing him, in player development. In fact, he'd be a very good player to have in player development because, he's the right type of person.
Yep. Because you bet your life that if they end up giving Crouch a contract and they end up giving Sloaney another year, you've got a situation where there's some boys in the midfield that haven't had much of a run. Sam Berry comes to mind, and we've got a couple of others that are going to be coming through, Dowling and Taylor and those sorts. And they're going to be thinking, hang on a sec, this isn't what I was sold. I was sold that we were taking over the club. I was sold that we were the next generation. And here we are 2-3 years later, and these old pricks are still running around.
Well, even Haley could say, I could do better than that.
100%. 100%, and he's borderline, but I'd rather keep Haley on the list than Rory Sloane. Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah. So, and Surfs is probably right. Sloaney and Tex probably have this romantic notion of retiring at the same time. Well, it doesn't always work like that in professional sport. And I think if Rory's got the humility, and I don't want to run Rory down because he's been an absolute warrior and a champion for our club. But if he's got enough humility and enough self-awareness and enough love of the club and his teammates, he will step down and say, that's me done. Thank you.
100% agree, Fee. That's it in a nutshell.
All right. Now, we've gone a fair way into the podcast before even looking at your 15 minutes of fame, mate. So why don't we just sort of back right up? And,
all right, well, shoot.
Because I don't like you missing out.
Oh, you're such a kind sausage, Fee.
Because I care about you. You know how I asked for YouTube? I asked for iTunes reviews last week.
Yep.
And I said that all the reviews that we got bagged you.
You said that.
Oh, I got an absolute seething review.
Oh, well.
So I can't remember the guy's name. Old Crow supporter. I can't remember his freaking name. But get stuffed for starters.
I don't think that I'm going to please everybody all the time. I try to do my best. I can do no more.
No. But look, I don't care. That's fine. I'll take the feedback, and we'll take the feedback, and we continue to do well. So it's fine. But we can always do better, Macca. We can always do better. And let's start by making this the slickest weekend results of all time. Starting from now, okay. Friday night, Collingwood Geelong was a bit of a good game. Geelong were in it for a while, but couldn't get over the line. Collingwood by 8 points, but another little injury.
Yeah, interesting it was because the Cats jumped the Pies early and they went to a 3-goal lead at quarter time. But and Cameron was firing, he got 3 goals, and I thought, hell, bloody Geelong, they're going to get up here. But no, look, to the Pies' credit, Darcy Moore went off with a hammy, and things weren't looking good. But they're a team with a lot of backbone, a lot of courage, and a lot of fight. And anyhow, they got level at half time, and they gradually increased their lead, and enough to withstand a last-ditch effort by Geelong. And, Dacos may have been out, but Dacos starred. That was Josh. He was absolutely starred. 38 disposals.
I mean, it's...